Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, welcome to channel14.com's Bodega Nights. I'm Joao.
This is Norm.
I'm Paulo.
And in the pre-show, we were talking about the latest episodes of Radio Norm.
Yeah. I understand it's been a while since I've been able to actually join any Bodega Night sessions, and people have been asking about what I've been doing with the rest of my free time. And basic long story short, I've been putting together a few fragments of episodes that have been on my mind for a few weeks to months now.
So
thankfully I put them together.
You say fragments, so are you saying that you right now only have parts of an episode, or you have episodes, just really tiny ones?
Oh, no, they're done now. I mean, literally just a few days ago. Finished, polished.
Oh, okay.
Well, relatively polished. And that's ready to record. Yeah,
dude.
Spoiler alert. Radio norms are not spontaneous.
It's what you do in rush hour traffic.
Yeah. We write down the thoughts and somehow put them into something coherent, and we record something that may or may not sound like poetry. Depending
on commentary on 21st century Philippine society.
Or my current emotional state.
And a fascination with interns.
Hey, that's a spoiler for a future episode. Which doesn't really matter because it's gonna come out like 3 months from now.
Yeah. It was, what was it? We also mentioned that this is the spiritual successor to No Amount of Therapy, which is a webcomic that you used to do.
Yes, it's a webcomic I used to do. The last update was in 2014, 2 years ago. Oh my god.
January, right?
Yeah. It's actually
January 2014.
We were talking about how the website is still magically up after all this time. How GoDaddy did not give me an option because it automatically renewed me for the domain name and charged me an extra 20% on top of that for the service of automatically renewing. So, hey guys, it's not a function, it's a service which you pay for. Thanks, GoDaddy.
Nuts.
Actually, it's fine. I may or may not come back to this. It depends on whether or not I get my hands on another tablet with Paper 53.
Do you want...
That's the
that's
iOS app, right?
Yeah, that's the iOS app I used to draw Radio Norm on.
So you're saying you need to get your hands on an iPad?
Sort of, yeah.
Isn't it like on Android or something?
It should be on Android by now, but I don't have a big enough screen to
I'd assume there'd be an Android equivalent if it's not on Android.
No, I like the Android. I like the iOS screens more because they're more responsive to touch. So it's easier to actually have something drawn out and have it be accurate to where you actually want it to be.
So in short, you'd need an iPad, a new iPad, or at least an iPad just an iPad that you could get your hands on.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if I'm actually going to consider investing in that yet. We'll see how well Radio Norm fares as a format, whether or not it's better than the No Amount of Therapy comic.
So
I was actually like a really big fan of what you did before like messing around with paper, which was you had like a little moleskin notebook, right? And you draw them out, take a picture, and like mess with the curves on Photoshop, and then like post that as a webcomic. I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
like
parts
format.
Parts of it is still on the website actually. Some of it's here.
Actually,
Yeah,
I'm on the website right now. Oh, the last it was last. Huh. This is actually more comics than I thought you'd actually have on this website.
Yeah, that's it.
No, because I was under the assumption that you had like only
3.
Yes, 3.
You thought I had like 3 comics, and it's like, oh, there's an entire backlog of comics.
Yeah, there's actually a backlog.
Yeah, the whole I guess, normative therapy and radio norm has evolved through the whole comic of storytelling, I guess. It actually started off as a journal entries, like snippets of journal entries.
Yeah,
then I messed around with illustrating them.
Yeah, I noticed based on some of the comic strips I just skimmed through. You've technically been active since October 2012, and then that activity cut off at the beginning of January 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
stuff went down.
a little over a year, I guess, of activity.
Yes.
2012.
A little over 2 years, Paulo. Over 2 years. Of the comic. The journal, which has never been published, has been longer.
Do you still have the journal?
I have the journals. I'm trying to find uses for them. It's it's when you find a journal when you were a teenager, man. You have to sift through a lot of whining.
This is what 2010, 2011 norm.
Yeah.
So
the norm was 5-6 years ago. Like no, dude.
No, nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, but I was just wondering if you actually had the things still. I mean,
I still have them on file here, actually right next to my bed.
It sounds like one of those things you'd actually end up losing, forgetting, and then suddenly remembering. Oh, I made this. Wait, where is it? No, it's gone.
Nope, that's not true. I have a intricate filing system right next to my bed. It's an entire pile of notebooks half written into.
Well, I'll just say that. I'll just say this. Good for you, man.
But yeah, I was actually looking at them a few months ago, trying to get more inspiration for Radio Norm, and I realized that it's gonna be difficult to get anything useful out of it, other than the very bleak outlook on life.
Norm, I'm staring into the eyes of a cat talking about revolution and Mike.
That's great. Hey,
Wait, Paulo,
people.
Do you have an electric fan on where you are, or
That
are you
is the
breathing
computer.
heavily into
That
the
is
microphone?
the computer fan.
Your computer fan breathing into the microphone?
Does the computer fan like turn because it's like intermittent? It isn't like a continuous blow.
It sounds like heavy breathing.
Is that any better?
Sorry.
I don't know. Is this any better?
Really sorry, listeners.
Yeah.
It was just an intermittent thing.
We were sort of going somewhere with this.
I don't know. Either that's the fan on my computer. That's either me, the fan on my computer, or the pump of the liquid cooling system.
Well, we'll try to minimize this in post.
No, we won't.
Joao, would it be? Do you actually know how to minimize it in post?
Yeah, but he can't.
It's gonna take a really long time.
Let me guess.
Yeah, he can't.
So too much time for you to consider even doing.
Yeah, because if it was like a constant, if it was like one constant sound that happened all the way throughout, that's easy enough to remove. But if it's a sound that pops up periodically, like that has to be removed manually.
Yeah, just so you know, I'm like using the head. I'm using the other mic I have right now. I'm not using my snowball.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what mic? You have another mic?
Yeah, the mic on my headset.
Okay, and that's the one that you're using for the call?
That's the one I'm using right now.
But then, are you recording separately on...
It's tied to both. It's tied to both. It's tied to... This microphone is tied to both the call and the recording on Audacity.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And the last time we were on Bodega Nights, you were using that same microphone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now, because I was wondering, because like,
I
if it's on your
apologize
headset,
for
I
the
would
dogs in
assume-
the background.
Okay.
Though to be fair, if I use my snowball right now, I might actually have to send in my comp for its yearly round of maintenance soon. You'd probably be hearing in the background the sound of fans plus the liquid cooling pump.
Okay.
All right, noted. The listeners have been warned.
Yeah, I actually need to refill the reservoir.
Right.
Wait, so is it like a closed system, or how does that work?
It's a loop. It's a liquid cooling loop. So basically, I just have to for maintenance, I just have to refill the reservoir with fluid.
Because it evaporates?
Yes. For some reason, it evaporates.
Okay.
Granted, it doesn't evaporate as fast as using pure water, and even then, no one's going to tell you to be using pure water. They'll be telling you to use a liquid cooling solution because, if I'm correct, if you're using pure water, you're going to run the risk of potentially damaging components and basically rusting away at metal components.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. To answer your question as to why I abandoned the drawing on journals format, it takes a lot of effort, and I've thrown a lot of paper out, so I don't really want to be a waste of the environment because I don't have any official drawing training. You just kind of doodle until it looks acceptable enough.
You doodle until it looks good.
Yes. Sometimes one circle takes 3 pages.
So I'm gonna assume that you never use pen. I assume you never use pencil then.
No, it's straight to pen.
Well, that says everything.
Yeah, you see, if you see some of the older posts where you see some of the scans from the journal, you can notice some of the edges have torn paper off them. That's that's
the draft.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing it right now.
That was the draft.
I am seeing it right now. Actually, I'm seeing it quite a lot.
There we go. Yeah, dude. What was it? It was something that I remembered from you. When we were giving you a hard time about having
A journal.
moleskin notebooks.
Yes.
We were giving you a hard time, like, moleskin notebooks? Why? Yeah, why? And then, like you said, I just have a thing for notebooks.
Yeah.
And eventually I understood, right? Because, like, before the mini stop opened in Cebu,
Yeah.
whenever my dad would go to Manila, I always asked him to get the pen from Mini Stop to buy that
Specific pen.
Yeah, the brand is Standard or whatever.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's one of my favorite pens. And then my father, like, after 2 or 3 like trips to Manila buying
Standard
me
pens
these pens, right?
from Mini Stop.
Just looks at me and he says, "You have like a weird fetish for this, don't you?"
For pens from
office
Mini
supplies,
Stop.
for pens from Mini Stop. and it was in that moment that I realized, like,
Yeah.
I get Norm's thing for notebooks. So, like, on my desk I have a stack of pens.
From Mini Stop. The standard.
Well, not necessarily though, because, like, I have a bunch of these My Gel pens.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I have a My Gel pen knockoff. You know, I have, like,
You go through these things, it's like, it writes differently.
yeah, and then have a couple of G-Techs. Like, come on.
Do you have a pen graveyard yet?
No.
No.
No, because it
Surprise?
sounds like you've gone through a lot of pens, Joao.
Yeah, you should just throw them out. Or, lately I've been buying refills. Like you can take a good
When we say, like,
$7 off the price of a pen if you just get the refill.
yeah. When we say, like, we have a thing for the notebooks or the pens, it doesn't mean that we actually have a shrine for them. We're very particular about the kind of pen or the kind of notebook that we have.
No, I'm just
That we
wondering.
use.
I'm
Yeah.
just wondering if you've used up so many of those pens and forgot to throw them out that you essentially have a pen graveyard somewhere.
I did. I had about, because like I said, I usually either throw them out, or if it's like the My Gel or the G-Tech, I usually just get the refill. There was a time though that I had about 10 of these My Gel pens that were just empty, and a couple of days ago I got 10 refills, and I felt so happy.
Okay.
It's like, whoa! It's like they're brand new.
Okay.
So cool.
Like I would imagine, or it'd be like if you had one of those binder type notebooks, and then like you had, you know, 7 of them lying around.
Sure, yeah. One
Went to the bookstore and just refilled them all. Like, oh,
finally, yes. It's like the point of buying this binder type notebook was to refill it. Don't you ever have that? Like, I keep buying these binder type things for the fact of refilling them, but I never get around to actually refilling them. I just keep buying more. The end of the year,
That's
why did
true,
they have
man, that's
different
true.
formats? I bought a refill. It has different holes in it. It doesn't fit my binder.
it's true.
So annoying. Standardize, people. Standardize. They made it for the USB Type C. Then do it for the notebook. Wow. All right.
And another thing that like I sort of understood, like another moment of clarity that I had about what you said about the notebooks was when I got the little black notebooks, like notebooks with black paper,
Oh, those things.
right? Those aren't cheap, but they aren't like moleskin expensive, but you know
Yeah.
they aren't cheap. So
Wait. Notebooks
I
with
got one.
black paper?
Yeah.
dude,
Wait, those exist?
Yeah. Since like 2000, at least 9.
I
yeah, so,
did not know
And
they actually existed. So how do you write on them?
Their sole purpose of existence is to justify silver pens.
Oh,
Pens with silver ink.
there's this from the guys that make the My Gel pen, they have this line of pens called My Metal.
Yeah.
And they come in a bunch of different colors, and they work really well on
The black paper.
on black paper. So like I got a set of those My Metal pens.
yeah. So I have a question to you, Joao, about those.
Wow.
I have a question about those My Metal pens, Joao.
Yeah.
Are they heavy?
No.
They're not actually made of metal.
No. Apparently, you didn't get it then.
Metal.
But yeah.
Because they certainly
You've
aren't
seen
black.
it though, Paulo, right?
Huh?
You've seen them though, right? Or you've seen my little black notebook, right, Paulo? Like I remember bringing it to your house once.
No, I don't. I didn't see a black notebook with black paper.
Maybe he saw it, he didn't notice it, I guess.
I think it might have been a black notebook, but not with black paper.
Oh, okay.
You'll see it sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometime. Whenever, sometime.
Like all
is-
of all the notes
That
for
was-
Bodega Nights episodes and stuff. I just write them down.
on
That was-
black
that was
paper.
like-
Somebody dropped an F-bomb. You know, I was like,
That was around. They were pretty famous around the time. Mascara and guy liners were starting to become a thing. I remember way back when.
So
Yeah.
they're one of those fads that came and went.
Well, they're still here. They're just not as popular, I guess.
So basically, it is going to be harder to find.
Eventually, I guess. I mean,
Eventually or already?
Now,
I got mine at Fully Booked.
Recently?
relatively hard to find.
Yeah. Well, the Fully Booked in the fort. So
Yeah.
in their little stationary area.
Mhm.
So that's the biggest one in the Philippines. So
Generally
I'm not
hard
sure
to. I would
Probably
say
hard to
yeah.
find.
I would say if you only find it in the Fully Booked in the fort, yeah, it's generally hard to find right now.
But then to be fair, I haven't checked the Fully Booked here,
Okay.
which has gotten smaller. Kind of annoying. The Fully Booked in Cebu, like they took out the. You've been there, Norm, right?
Yep, but
Yeah.
way back when
Yeah. But then like you know that it had
it used to be pretty
it had
big.
a side with the coffee shop in it, right? It
Yeah.
had like a Bose.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they closed down everything from the Bose onwards.
Whoa.
So
I'm not sure if it's for renovation or if it's like actually closed.
supposedly,
Did I understand correctly? They closed down everything from the Bose onwards, so it's only a Bose now.
No, Bose is gone. What was in it? What was it? What was
A few racks of books along
the
with the
kids
Bose.
section was there.
That was the
The
kid.
Filipiniana section was there.
What's left is the young adult vampire section with the prerequisite romantic triangle between the bad guy, the good guy, and the girl.
And the werewolf.
And the werewolf. That seems like a predominant requirement now for young adult, well, youngish adult literature.
That there be a love story?
That
Or
there
like
be a
triangle?
love triangle.
What was young adult literature
Before
when we
then?
were young adults? Adults.
Well, my generation, I grew up on Harry Potter. And eventually you either read Lord of the Rings before or after Harry Potter, and that's would eventually lead you to, I guess, maybe
George R. R.
George R. Martin. The hesitation with maybe George R. R. Martin right before Game of Thrones, or just as the news came out, because that was the thing then. That became a thing, that when movies were starting to be made from the novels, the fad became that the hipsters would read the novels before the movie came out, so they can they changed this in the movie, or that wasn't in the book, or that's not how Dumbledore said. Did you put your name in the goblet of fire, Harry? He was supposed to be calm. He wasn't screaming. Anyway, yeah. Now though, I don't know, maybe we need another resurgence in book popularity.
Books.
Yeah. Generally. Another superstar in books that isn't George R. R. Martin or Harry Potter.
Yeah, what do kids read? That's a really good
Do they read
question.
Joao? Do they read comics?
Nobody reads comics anymore.
In the paper,
highest,
in the paper form.
yeah, like the highest selling comic books now from DC are like 200,000 copies, and that's nothing compared to the millions that they made in the 90s, or the millions that they sold in the 90s.
Yeah, the reason they publish comics now is to get more material for the movies.
So the digital numbers, are they helping in any way?
I don't think they've released the digital numbers, or I haven't really looked into
There's probably
the
significantly
numbers
more.
anymore.
Yeah. I mean, official channels for, I don't know, I have issues with paying for digital copies of comics. It's weird. I don't know why. There's a hesitation there.
There's a
Yeah.
There is a hesitation.
Because you don't.
This is digital, man.
Yep.
Comics are hard enough for me to justify buying in their physical form. Their digital form's a little less.
Yeah.
So, even less.
Although there is like a really cool service now. What's it called? Marvel Infinity.
Huh.
Right?
Is it
Which is
one of those subscription services?
So it's like
a
Spotify for
subscription
comics of Marvel.
Pardon?
So it's like Spotify for Marvel comics.
Yeah. It's like their entire, or a whole lot of their back catalog. So it's pretty good.
So how much per month?
I wouldn't know. I'm not subscribed to it because I don't really care much for the back issues.
He just has the new stuff.
Yeah, the new stuff.
And then there's Netflix. Daredevil 2 is out. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so I won't talk about it then.
I feel like I have to.
I should have been studying, but no.
Daredevil
I was
came
watching
out.
Daredevil.
I was actually.
Wait, can I just clarify something about Netflix?
Yeah.
Subscription. Do I need it so that I can watch whatever?
Yep.
So basically,
But take note.
yes, you were saying
Sorry, go
Norm.
ahead, Paulo.
You were saying Norm.
Take note that Netflix has different release schedules, I guess, depending on the content licensing on a per country basis.
Okay.
So, some shows are not available to us yet because they're already licensed to, let's say, Fox or some other channel.
Personally, I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just curious if BoJack Horseman is available here.
If one way to find out,
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
it's to ask Google. That's the one way to find out.
Probably not, but you know,
You know,
no, probably not.
one way you never ask Google is, you don't ask Larry Page or Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg for money on a different platform that he's not on, i.e. Twitter. Alright, Netflix. Is it available?
Looks like it.
Wait, so is it?
Looks like it.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Something
With Will Arnett.
something to consider then.
Yay!
How much is 370 a month? 370 pesos a month.
That's 2 movies a month, I guess. If you're not
Yeah.
going for the VIP lazy boy unlimited popcorn seats.
Yeah, so it's not bad, man. I mean, like, it's priced okay, I guess. About $8.
Pretty cool.
$8 current conversion rate.
I say about 370 is acceptable because any more I'd have to seriously reconsider subscribing to Netflix on account of it's almost about as much as my internet bill would be.
So would 400 pesos a month be too much?
I'd say about if you approach a 600 to 700 pesos a month limit,
Okay.
it's about too much. Because
They have a 550 peso
oh yeah,
thing
isn't that the
with
HD?
HD, Ultra HD, and you can have it at 4 screens at a time.
That's great. I can watch with the tablet, the phone, and my TV at the same time.
So basically, I could watch the entire original trilogy of Star Wars plus whatever else on at the same time.
Wait, is Star Wars available on Netflix here? Like,
That's us, Google. Picture.
Paul, I'm sure you have like a Netflix app on your TV or whatever, right?
At home the TVs don't have that software.
Oh, okay. All right.
The most they have is HD, and they can take in inputs from computers. They could take in inputs from computers and have a USB port. They aren't one of those smart TV things.
Okay. Yeah, it's like because like my folks, like they bought one of them smart TV things and it has a Netflix app on
1080p or 4K.
1080.
We don't have a necessary. We don't really need 4K just yet.
I don't see a need for it
Not
at the
for the
moment.
next 5 years.
Yeah, because like people
I'd actually say maybe even a
don't
little
spit
longer.
stuff out.
Ciao.
Yeah, like people don't really release stuff in 4K, so it really wouldn't make very much sense to get 4K that early on because, it's still going to be expensive getting the early adopter market.
Yeah.
That's always how it goes, man. Remember how much like a 1080p TV costed?
Way back when.
Used to cost like way back when, right?
Yeah.
So, we don't get 4K just yet. The only stuff really that's in 4K right now are the things on YouTube, and we don't have and our internet connections aren't fast enough to sustain 4K video.
And why?
Well, and the only connections that could are just plain bloody expensive.
You mean
Yeah,
Nico?
so I don't even think he can. Anyway,
He wouldn't want to. That's for sure.
Alright, let's move on from that. Alright, 4K in the Philippines, not really sustainable just yet because our internet is generally, for the average person, not capable of maintaining a download speed reasonable enough for 4K video. And
yeah, man. Like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that there's not enough creators of 4K, specific 4K content that we can't appreciate on 1080p. 1080p.
I mean, we can barely get 720, man. Like
720 is like,
whoa, it's so clear.
it is the goal. We hit 720, we're good.
That's why people pirate. That's why people pirate their TV shows here.
Because streaming is a bitch.
Right? Like, you have this nice TV, or you have a nice-ish TV, which you got from like a cheap Chinese manufacturer. You can get 720 1080p video on it.
No problem.
Fine.
Yeah.
Right. So we sign up for Netflix, 460 pesos a month. Not bad. HD available. I want to play Daredevil. I want to watch some Daredevil. Turn it on, buffers. Like,
I'm not gonna sit in front of my TV while it buffers.
yeah, well, anyway. Freaking
Alright.
buffering.
The reason why buffering or streaming can work on a PC platform here right now is because the PC is a multi-use device. So unlike the TV, you can do something else while your show buffers. Well, on your smart TV, you're just stuck there sitting on the sofa while waiting for that progress bar to move on.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Right? Let's all agree on that because that's a straight up reality of it.
Unless
you
happen to be using your TV as a giant computer screen.
Sure, but if you're sitting in front of
Yeah.
it for the purpose of watching shows, you're going to be stuck with the same problem of, well, I'm on the sofa already, I'm not gonna sit closer so I can change programs and do something else while it buffers.
Well, there are workarounds for that.
I'm sure there are. There's always where there's a will, there's a way, you know. But I'm just not that willing.
Where there's a will, you don't need to find a court-appointed administrator.
That sounds like next level law.
Yeah, I guess.
If there's a will, all you need is an executor and you're fine.
Yeah. You need an executor. If somebody died without a will, then you get what's called an administrator to divide up the
As he
assets
sees
of
fit.
the estate.
Well, is there a basis for the division of the assets?
Yes, the law.
The law.
Does this person have liabilities? So you have to pay those off.
Oh yeah, that's first.
Then you look at you look at their spouse. Do they have children? Do they have illegitimate children? Do they have because we have a system of legitime or whatever it's called. Like you can't say, for example, leave all of your property to the dog, right? Like like we have mandatory heirs.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the administrator bases it on that.
All right. So take note, people, loyal listeners. The faithful 14, as difficult as it may be, a will is handy, just so that your loved ones won't fight over your possessions, or the government will not forcibly take it from them.
Except if you haven't been paying your taxes.
Yeah.
So, Paulo, what do you think of the Universal Windows platform?
Wow, that's smooth.
I have not read enough about it. I hear it's pissing off. What little I know is that it's pissing off a lot of people. People are saying that it is essentially being compared as a Games for Windows Live 2.0, which was Games for Windows Live. The short version of that fiasco was everybody hated it. I just haven't read enough on the situation. I've actually been in the dark about about that.
Well, there goes an entire 10 minutes of conversation I was planning to have.
Really, I just know that people hate. I just know that people hate it, for the same reasons that they hate Games for Windows Live.
What was Games for Windows Live?
It was basically supposed to be a connectivity service for games on Windows. It was basically mandatory for certain games like Fallout 3, Batman Arkham Asylum. It basically was everything people feared Steam would actually become. You know, the paranoid vision of the future of Steam. That was kind of what Games for Windows Live was. You had to be online. You had to have your account, and you had to have your account. You had to basically. It was weird. you had to be online to use the service.
Sounds like you play.
What do you play?
You play as in the Ubisoft, the Ubisoft game service thing that is mandatory whenever you buy any Ubisoft game. Even if you buy it on Origin or Steam, you need to install Uplay to play the Ubisoft game on PC.
Or Origin, actually. They both require that game.
The only difference is
played
that
online.
The only difference is that Origin cut off a bit of the crap by just making it that Origin games can only be played if you play them off of Origin.
That's good.
That sounded
for
like
them.
a tautology, but I'll let it slide.
What's a tautology again? Just to clarify on my, I need to clarify on my vocabulary. Can you explain it to me, Joao?
A tautology is it's a logic thing where your conclusion is the same as your premise.
Oh, okay. I've only heard that I've only come across it like twice in the past year or two, and
Really?
this is the second time. This is the second time
Yeah.
I've come across it.
You haven't listened to the Philippine debates yet? Because that's gonna be thrown around a lot.
Yeah, I know. I just know that the Philippine debates were a circus.
Much like the American debates, but that's for a different story.
The world of politics is like really weird.
Right now, yeah.
Not the world of politics, but like
I don't know. I don't know.
Politics in the world.
Part of me thinks that it got weirder recently.
That's exactly what I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Politics in the world have gotten really weird. Like in Europe, you have the rise of the far right. And when European political parties go far right, they go very far right. You know? Like the American presidential the American presidential race is kind of weird. The freak show in this country, like
It's kind of weird. There's no way around it. It's a freak show.
yeah, man, like oh, well, fine. It isn't a freak show. It's just I'm not convinced that I don't like any of our candidates for president. It's just that simple.
Fair enough.
You know, it's like I don't know who the lesser evil is. At least in terms of, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because of the presidential debates, traffic in Lahug was pretty heavy on a Sunday.
Last Sunday, yeah.
Never happens. Not on a Sunday.
It's a Sunday. Nobody's supposed to be out.
I guess we truly live in interesting times.
It's a good time to be alive, though.
Good time to be alive. Horrible time to be stuck in traffic. But a good time to be alive.
I don't know. It's a good time to be alive, man. I got it. You've seen my little MK802 mini PC thing, right? Like it was an Android. It was meant to be an Android TV box that you just sort of plug into your TV. It's I don't know, about 3 or 4 inches by 2 inches. It's just this tiny thing. Apparently you can install Linux on it. So I installed Debian on it, plugged it into my printer, and now we have a wireless printer.
Nice.
Actually,
It's like,
actually, Joao, on a related subject, I'm actually kind of curious. Is there a way to manually put in Ubuntu, the mobile version of Ubuntu onto a phone?
you wouldn't want to do that yet.
Good chance of breaking the phone now, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm not sure, like, what phones they support.
So basically, it's a very limited hardware list that still has a high chance of breaking.
I would think that on a lot of devices, it's just impossible, right?
Yeah.
Like, because of the extremely varied, because of the extremely varied hardware set that you get on the Android side of things, you essentially have to write for certain devices. Yeah, and Ubuntu doesn't have doesn't have a version of their phone OS for everything across the board. Like, I think they're cool with like Nexus devices,
Okay.
and maybe some of the Samsung ones. But outside of that, I'm not even sure if it's possible.
So I'm starting to. And on a similar but not as related tangent, has anyone tried putting Android on an iPhone?
Yeah, there was this thing called Android. They did that with like the first or second generation iPhones. You pretty much had like a dual boot thing on a jailbroken iPhone. I cannot remember what it was called.
And I assume you can't.
Something boot.
And I assume that that's impossible now.
I don't think anybody really has the will to
Desire.
the desire to. When it comes to hacking something together, it's just a small group of passionate people, and when those people lose their passion, it's just whatever. You guys just keep on talking. I'm gonna look up that app, whatever it was.
Paulo, it's been a while. What have you been up to?
Gosh.
And how's pigs?
How's pigs? Oh gosh, you're talking about the show that's on indefinite hiatus because of like life circumstance?
Huh.
I'm
All
saying,
right. Maybe not the best question to start with.
yeah, you're like quite literally. The problem is is the fact that for the most part I'm stuck on a computer I cannot edit on most of the day because of work.
All right.
Yeah.
So OpenIBoot is the old thing, but like apparently there's an article here. How to hack your iPhone 6 to run Android Lollipop.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
Do you have an iPhone?
No, I don't. I'm just wondering because that's just something that
I just found it interesting.
It's just like something that came across my mind recently. It's like remembering the amount of stuff with regards to dual booting and boot camp.
Huh.
Boot camp. That's the Mac thing, right?
Yeah.
Why do you? I don't know.
No, it's just curiosity, man. Just curiosity.
That's the thing with phones, right? They're just so locked down to whoever the manufacturer is, and like their software stack has to be whatever their blessed software stack is. While on laptops, it's a lot easier to dual, triple, quad boot. Yeah. So like this laptop that I have in front of me at one point had Windows, Ubuntu, and Android on it.
And then you just cut it down to
Ubuntu.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah. That way we don't have any windows in our house.
Well, except
just
the ones giving you ventilation, of course.
Ventilation.
It's just a box of concrete.
Yeah.
And a door.
And slick fiberglass aluminum design.
Sounds toasty.
Sounds like a MacBook.
Actually. Hey, the new iPhone has been launched. Announced.
That 4-inch one?
Yeah.
The what?
The 4-inch iPhone. The new 4-inch.
The in-between of in-betweens of iPhones. The 6 SE.
That's what it's called.
No, it's not called the 6 SE. It's just the SE.
iPhone SE, the
Yeah.
small edition.
Yeah.
That's
Practically,
what it
yeah.
is, really?
Yeah,
It's a
practically.
6S, the size of a 5S.
iPhone SE.
So is this the
and a smaller iPad Pro. Huh.
is this the first instance of size regression in the mobile space?
No.
No, it
No.
It's
okay.
not size regression. The reasoning for the smaller size is it allows them to price it cheaper. So it's an economic regression, retargeting, really. So they're not
okay.
targeting the luxury markets anymore. They're allowing the iPhone to be more affordable for some other markets,
Okay.
which goes against their core demographic of original Steve Jobs. Just the 1%.
And what do you mean by size regression? Like literally stuff got smaller?
Yes.
Yeah, is it like the history of mobile computer the history of mobile phones has pretty much been everything gets smaller and smaller and smaller until people with fat thumbs can't use them anymore, and then they go back to having like a really big phone again, and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
It's yeah.
Like, do you remember those? Do you remember the 5110? The
Oh,
Nokia
yeah.
5110.
Yeah.
That thing was like pretty big, and then we ended up with them weird. Well, after the 5110, the next big one was like the 3210. And then the 3310 was pretty big as well. But then, like, eventually we got down to those weird, like, Samsung slide phones that were pretty much the size of, like, a webcam. Or, you know, like, those things were tiny.
Mm-hmm.
If I can remember correctly. They must have been tiny. Because I would imagine that I was a smaller person when I first held one. And, you know, when we're kids, everything seems a lot larger than they actually are. So, I guess that answers your question, Paulo, at least from my understanding of the history of mobile phones.
The only reason it came up is because I noticed the fact that a number of Android manufacturers are already like pushing 6-inch or larger than 6-inch phones.
Yeah, we call those tablets.
Yeah, now it's just that now you could actually do phone
Tablets.
You could actually do phone calls on them.
You can do phone calls on them old Samsung 7-inch tablets, right? Like the Galaxy Note 7 or whatever the heck it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Although you looked kind of goofy with the thing like up against your face.
yeah, with the giant slab.
For use with headsets.
I mean, the bigger screen is always welcome. It's just it gets to a point where you look in the mirror and you actually see a reflection of yourself carrying this gigantic,
Thing.
A4 size device in front of your face as you're laying down in bed, and it's a little ridiculous. Just
Well-
what you said. Sometimes it's just
Well, great. Now you're just reminding me that Samsung actually released a tablet that's 18 inches.
great.
It's an 18-inch Droid tablet.
And its battery lasts an entirety of 18 minutes as well.